The courtroom erupted the moment the driver stormed in, finger pointed, voice rising, blaming everyone but himself. "It wasn't my fault," he shouted, his arrogance filling the room. Whispers spread. Friends, strangers, even the bailiff held their breath. But Judge Caprio, calm and unflinching, leaned forward, eyes narrowing ever so slightly, and asked a simple question that silenced the room. "Do you really believe you're not responsible?" Every word hung in the air like a ticking clock. The moral scales teetered. Could one man truly evade accountability, or was this arrogance about to meet its match? What happens next will shock you. The door bursts open, and he strides in, shiny shoes, tailored suit, the air of a man who believes the world bends for him. Cameras catch the flicker of a smug smirk, the imperceptible shrug of a man convinced nothing, not even the law, can touch him. Whispers ripple through the courtroom. Heads tilt, eyes narrow, some shake in disbelief, others lean forward, sensing the storm about to unfold. He stops mid-aisle, arms folding instinctively, posture perfect, arrogance radiating like heat. Every heartbeat seems amplified. The room waits. Judge Caprio lifts his gaze, serene, deliberate, a human anchor in the chaos. One look, and the air shifts. The judge doesn't raise his voice, doesn't make a scene, yet the courtroom leans into the silence, hanging on his calm authority. The driver clears his throat, a weak attempt at composure, but the twitch of a brow betrays unease. "Your Honor," he begins, voice smooth but defensive, "I was moving cautiously. The construction crew didn't signal properly. The traffic lights, they changed too fast. And, well, the pedestrian—" His fingers snap impatiently. Each word spills entitlement, each gesture a challenge. The audience stiffens. Gasps punctuate murmurs. Could anyone hold this man accountable? The courtroom feels smaller somehow, tension pressing against the walls. The plaintiff rises, voice firm yet strained. Eyes glimmer with unspoken pain. "My arm was broken," she says. "The car, it's totaled. And the nights. I haven't slept in weeks." Her words hang, fragile yet heavy, a weight the driver seems incapable of bearing. A shift occurs, subtle at first. The smirk falters, eyes dart, shoulders stiffen. The balance of power wavers. He is no longer untouchable. A faint cough from the gallery, a quick exchange of glances between spectators, tiny cracks spreading in the fortress of arrogance. The camera pans to the judge, calm, measured, eyes holding the driver's gaze like a mirror reflecting undeniable truth. He leans slightly forward, hands resting on the bench, waiting. Waiting for the first acknowledgement, the first admission. Could you face the judge and admit fault? The thought hangs in the air as the driver shifts uncomfortably, a bead of sweat tracing his temple. The courtroom waits, silent but alive, anticipating the inevitable. The plaintiff's attorney gestures to the first witness, and the driver's composure trembles for a fraction of a second. Every eye is locked on him. Every breath counts. The moment has arrived. The first witness steps forward, and the reckoning begins. He rises again, voice sharp, each word dripping with defiance. "It wasn't me," he snaps. "The roads were icy, the signs confusing, the traffic lights, did you see them? Barely functioning. And the officer, he didn't stop the other car in time." Each accusation slices through the courtroom air like a whip. Gasps ripple from the gallery. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Heads shake. Eyebrows arch. The driver's hands tremble slightly as he gestures wildly, desperate to reclaim control. Judge Caprio leans back, hands folded, gaze steady as stone. Not a flicker of emotion betrays him. The calm is deafening. In that silence, the driver's words echo painfully hollow. The courtroom feels taut, every spectator waiting for the weight of truth to land. The camera captures subtle movements, the slight clench of a fist, a flicker of panic in the eye, the tightening of the jaw. Power shifts imperceptibly. "Your Honor, the driver stammers, trying to rally, but the plaintiff's attorney interrupts, sliding photographs across the bench. Close-ups of crumpled metal, tire marks, and shattered glass stare back. Dashcam footage plays on the screen, silent, unflinching. There's no narrative, no spin, just the unassailable reality of his actions. Whispers swell to murmurs. Disbelief grows heavier with each passing second. A witness is called. Their voice, calm but resolute, recounts the events with precision. I saw the car speed past the red light, they say. There was no skid, no hesitation. The traffic signals were fully operational. The driver shifts, body stiff, mouth opening, closing, a trapped animal sensing the walls closing in. His smirk falters, replaced by a twitch of fear. The audience leans in, sensing the facade cracking. Micro-hooks ignite the tension, every glance, every pause, every gulp a cinematic heartbeat. The judge tilts his head, eyes scanning the driver with surgical precision. Do you see the evidence before you? His tone is calm, almost gentle, yet undeniable in its moral weight. Each fact, each image, each testimony is a mirror. What do you see when you face it? The courtroom falls silent, but the tension vibrates like electricity. The driver swallows hard. His defenses tremble. Could he finally face the truth? Could he own the moment? Pause. What would you do in his shoes? The thought lingers as the driver's arrogance wavers. He paces slightly, gestures frantically, a man teetering on the edge between denial and admission. Spectators lean forward, pulse quickened. Every eye, every camera lens, every frame waits. Slowly, inexorably, the tide turns. The evidence leaves no space for excuses. The courtroom energy tightens, taut like a drawn string, coiling around him. The stage is set. A confrontation is inevitable. One more word, one more gesture, and the collapse, or the defiance, will come. The judge's gaze holds him in place, a moral spotlight exposing every inch of pretense, every thread of arrogance, every flicker of fear. The next witness steps forward, and the tension escalates. The reckoning inches closer. Every breath in the courtroom is shared, every heartbeat, a countdown. The first witness rises, trembling slightly, eyes wide with lingering shock. A pedestrian who had been at the scene, their hands fidgeting, voice steady but tinged with emotion. I saw the car swerve. Twice. The light was green. You didn't even slow down. A hush falls. The courtroom leans in. Gasps ripple through the gallery. The driver shifts, posture rigid, jaw tight. Fingers twitch, hands ball into fists, then release in a nervous shrug. Deflection is no longer enough. Another witness approaches, a fellow driver, still pale, shaking from the adrenaline of the accident. You cut in front of me without warning, they say, eyes darting to the defendant. I honked, but you didn't react. It was reckless. Murmurs cascade across the room. Whispers thread through spectators. Some nod, some cover their mouths, unable to believe the contrast between his arrogance and the raw honesty before them. The driver waves his hands, a futile attempt to reclaim the narrative. Every movement is defensive, desperate, yet it only draws more attention to the cracks forming in his story. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly, gaze unwavering, hands resting calmly on the bench. He says nothing, but the silence is a weight heavier than any accusation. Each word from the witnesses lands like a hammer on glass. The courtroom's energy tightens. The human truth, pain, fear, and shock, outweighs ego, privilege, and bravado. The driver opens his mouth, closes it, trying to muster a rebuttal, but the evidence is relentless. Dashcam footage now plays on the screen, each frame echoing the testimonies. Swerves, ignored signals, reckless turns, all undeniable. Spectators react audibly, sighs, soft gasps, nods of empathy. Every eye is fixed on the unfolding moral reckoning. The driver's defensiveness escalates, hands gesture wildly, pointing at anything and anyone except himself. Yet every gesture only emphasizes the widening chasm between his arrogance and the truth. The courtroom camera pans across his twitching shoulders, downturned eyes, the subtle tremor of a man losing control over a story he once owned. Pause. Who do you side with, the driver or the witnesses? The thought hangs as the tension coils. Each moment feels cinematic, the shuffle of papers, the faint hum of whispered conversations, the unblinking moral weight emanating from the judge. The human unraveling is tangible, a performance not of acting, but of reality exposing its relentless clarity. The witnesses return to their seats, the weight of their testimonies lingering. The courtroom absorbs it, silent yet alive, anticipating the next confrontation. Every second reinforces personal accountability. The driver sits, shoulders slumped, the first real cracks in his confident facade now glaring. The stage is set for the evidence to speak even louder. The courtroom lights dim slightly, and the dashcam footage flickers to life on the screen. Every eye is fixed, every heartbeat synchronized to the unfolding truth. Time seems to stretch, each frame magnifies every imperfection, every misstep. The car swerves sharply, tires screeching against asphalt. A red light ignored. Pedestrians dart aside. Horns blare in futile warning. The camera lingers on the moment, a sudden, jarring stop, and the raw sequence leaves no room for denial. The driver sits rigid, hands gripping the edge of the chair, knuckles white. His face drains of color, eyes darting from screen to judge to audience, searching for a lifeline that doesn't exist. Fingers twitch, then slump in helpless defeat. The arrogance that dominated the room moments ago falters, fracturing under the weight of unassailable evidence. A tremor runs through his jaw, a subtle collapse of a man clinging to delusion. Judge Caprio leans forward, voice calm, measured, yet every word carries the weight of moral gravity. The footage speaks for itself. No argument can rewrite what has occurred. The courtroom absorbs it in silence, the words sinking like stones into the driver's conscience. Gasps ripple from the gallery. Some cover their mouths, disbelief etched into every line of their face. Others shake their heads slowly, acknowledging the undeniable truth of what they have witnessed. Spectators lean forward, tension coiling tighter with each passing second. Every frame of the dashcam, every tire mark, every ignored signal, speaks not just to the accident, but to character, the recklessness, the arrogance, the inability to accept responsibility. The camera pans across the audience, capturing the shared gasp, the collective intake of breath, the subtle exchange of glances, all reinforcing the human drama unfolding before them. The driver's gestures grow frantic. He points, waves, searches desperately for excuses, but each frame of evidence crashes against his defenses, breaking down the walls of denial brick by brick. His shoulders slump slightly, eyes darting, a man confronting the tangible weight of his actions for the first time. The courtroom feels smaller, each witness, each fact, each moral truth pressing closer. Pause. Could you stay silent in his shoes? The thought hangs as the driver flinches, caught between confession and continued deflection. Every spectator, every viewer, feels the tension coil tighter, the emotional punch landing harder. This is more than an accident. It is a confrontation with self, a cinematic collision between arrogance and accountability. The footage ends. Silence blankets the room. Every breath, every glance, every heartbeat is magnified. The moral balance has shifted. The arrogance of denial has collided with undeniable truth. Judge Caprio's eyes remain steady, unyielding, letting the human drama resonate fully. The driver slumps, the first cracks of humility appearing, the stage perfectly set for confrontation. The courtroom waits. Every second stretches toward the moment when words, judgment, and moral reckoning will collide. Silence descends like a physical weight, pressing against every wall of the courtroom. The driver shifts in his seat, the creak of leather loud against the stillness. Fingers drum nervously against the bench. Every eye is fixed on Judge Caprio, whose calm presence slices through the tension with surgical precision. He leans forward slightly, gaze unwavering, and his voice rises, not in anger, but in measured authority. Responsibility, he begins, slow and deliberate, is not a matter of convenience. It is not something we choose when it suits us, nor ignore when it challenges us. The words hang in the air, heavy and unavoidable. The driver swallows hard, lips parting, then closing again. He tries to speak, but no words come. His arrogance wavers, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty, the first visible crack in his confident facade. The courtroom reacts audibly, gasps ripple, whispers thread through the gallery. Spectators lean forward, eyes wide, hearts tight. The human weight of truth presses against privilege, shaking it. Officer reactions, subtle yet telling, echo in the tension. Hands shift on holsters, feet shuffle, a pen drops silently onto the floor. Every detail is amplified. Judge Caprio's calm authority does not humiliate, it illuminates. He gestures slightly toward the evidence on the screen, dashcam footage, photographs, witness statements, all undeniable. Each of you has a choice, he continues, voice even, controlled, morally sharp. To acknowledge what has occurred, or to remain blind to it. The driver's hands clench, release, tremble slightly. His eyes dart, searching for escape, for any loophole, but the weight of truth is absolute. Pause. Would you accept responsibility if confronted like this? The question lingers, unspoken but palpable. The courtroom feels like it holds its collective breath, every spectator entangled in the moral gravity of the moment. The energy tightens, coiling like a spring ready to snap. He leans back slightly, the faintest nod, as if allowing the driver to confront his own conscience. No loud condemnation, no dramatic flourish, just quiet moral force, unyielding and precise. The driver shifts again, shoulders slumping, the first hints of humility softening the sharp edges of his arrogance. The tension oscillates, fear, realization, shock, the subtle emergence of accountability. Spectators exchange glances, some murmuring softly, others shaking their heads, hearts heavy with empathy and judgment alike. The driver's face pales further, the facade crumbling in the face of undeniable moral clarity. The room holds a fragile, electric stillness, a pause before reckoning. The audience is tethered to the moment, watching a man confront not just the law, but himself. Every second counts. Every glance, every breath, every pause is cinematic, emotional, viral. Judge Caprio remains the calm eye in the storm, guiding the moral compass of the room. The driver is exposed. Humanity and justice converge. The reckoning has begun, and the audience waits for the next movement, every heartbeat on edge, every soul gripped by the unfolding drama. The driver sits frozen, a statue of tension and disbelief. His hands hover above the table, then drop limply to his lap. Eyes wide, darting from dashcam footage to witnesses, to Judge Caprio, searching for any escape. There is none. Time seems to stretch, each second heavy, almost audible. The courtroom holds its collective breath, the air thick with anticipation and moral gravity. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly, voice calm, measured, a beacon of unwavering authority. The truth does not bend to denial, he says softly, yet every word strikes like a gavel. The driver opens his mouth, closes it, silence consuming him. His chest rises and falls in shallow, uneven breaths. Every gesture, every micro-expression screams internal conflict. The audience leans forward, eyes fixed, knowing the moment they've waited for is here. Witnesses exchange glances, tension rippling across the room. Gasps escape softly, murmurs thread through the gallery. Some cover their mouths, others nod, sensing the inevitability of accountability. Even the officers shift subtly, hands resting lightly on their belts, caught in the quiet spectacle of human reckoning. The courtroom is suspended in cinematic stillness, every frame brimming with emotional tension. Finally, words tremble from the driver's lips. I was wrong, he whispers, barely audible, yet unmistakable. The admission lands like thunder, shattering the arrogance that dominated minutes before. Shoulders slump, eyes cast downward, a man stripped bare by truth. The courtroom exhales as one, some sigh in relief, others nod in quiet vindication, the moral weight settling into place. Pause. Could you admit fault if all eyes were on you? The question hangs as viewers are drawn into the intimate, raw human moment unfolding before them. This is not just a courtroom, it is a stage for confrontation with conscience, a collision of ego and undeniable reality. The collapse of pride is palpable, almost painful to witness. Judge Caprio's gaze softens slightly, still steady, as the driver's confession hangs in the air. The courtroom energy shifts, tension transforming into catharsis, relief interlaced with moral clarity. The dashcam images, witness statements, and facts have done their work. The man is humanized, humbled, yet accountable. The spectators remain attentive, absorbing every detail of the transformation. Arrogance reduced to humility, deflection replaced by admission, moral clarity asserting itself over entitlement. The stage is perfectly set for resolution, a moment that lingers in memory, cinematic, viral, emotionally unforgettable. Every eye, every breath, every heartbeat in the room is tethered to the man who finally faced his truth. The courtroom exhales, a collective breath held for moments now released. The driver sits upright, the tension of denial replaced by a tentative calm. Judge Caprio's eyes meet his, not with anger, but with unwavering moral clarity. His voice, measured and gentle, resonates through the room. Acknowledging your mistakes is the first step toward understanding and toward change. The words ripple, soft yet heavy, carrying the weight of accountability balanced with humanity. The driver's hands rest on the bench, fingers unclenching slowly, as though the act itself unburdens him. His eyes meet the plaintiff's, not with defiance, but with a flicker of empathy. The courtroom reacts subtly, murmurs shift from judgment to whispers of compassion, nods of recognition, a spectator brushing a hand across their face in quiet reflection. The once tense energy softens, bending toward understanding. "I realize now," the driver begins, voice low but steady, "how my actions affected others. I didn't think. I acted selfishly. I take full responsibility." Each word lands like a small, seismic tremor, shaking away the remnants of arrogance. Shoulders that once hunched in defiance now straighten slightly, a posture mirroring the internal transformation. Eyes that darted in search of escape now hold focus, attention tethered to the moral lesson being lived. Judge Caprio leans forward, hands folded, gaze unwavering yet warm. Growth is not measured by perfection, but by the courage to face the consequences of your choices. The driver nods slowly, head lowering briefly in introspection, then lifting again with a quiet steadiness. The transformation is cinematic, visible in micro-expressions, the twitch of a mouth softening into acknowledgement, the tightening of fists relaxing into acceptance. Spectators lean in, eyes wide, caught in the rhythm of redemption. Gasps are replaced by sighs, whispers thread through nods of shared understanding. Viewers at home are drawn into the intimate arc, conflict giving way to exposure, confrontation giving way to reflection, denial replaced by responsibility. It is the heartbeat of Judge Caprio's style, moral clarity, emotional resonance, human growth captured in real time. A subtle glance sweeps the room, officers, witnesses, spectators, all participants in the quiet drama of moral reckoning. The driver exhales, slow, deliberate, a release carrying both shame and newfound insight. He straightens fully, tone softening as he speaks once more, "I hope I can make amends and learn from this." The courtroom absorbs it, the energy shifting toward redemption. Pause. Have you ever faced a moment like this? The question lingers, tethering viewers to the human story unfolding. Arrogance has given way to understanding. Denial has yielded to responsibility. The chapter closes on reflection, transformation complete, leaving audiences emotionally engaged and inspired by the enduring power of accountability and human growth. The room is still, the air taut with anticipation, yet softened by the rhythm of reflection. Judge Caprio rises slightly from his seat, eyes sweeping the courtroom with quiet authority. Every movement is deliberate, every breath measured. The driver sits, shoulders squared but tension still etched across his face. His gaze follows the judge, attentive, knowing that the moment of reckoning has arrived. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through the silence, calm, firm, compassionate. "The law is not merely a tool for punishment," he begins, each word deliberate, resonating with moral clarity. "It is a mirror, reflecting our choices, our responsibilities, and our capacity for growth." The courtroom leans in collectively, gasps restrained, whispers hushed, all absorbed in the cadence of justice tempered by humanity. The driver's eyes flicker, a trace of humility softening the last remnants of arrogance. He exhales slowly, shoulders loosening, as though the weight of denial has lifted, replaced by understanding. The moral lesson lands with precision. Accountability is not just for the sake of law, but for the shaping of character, for the recognition of the human impact of one's actions. Judge Caprio continues, voice steady, "In this case, you are held fully responsible for the consequences of your actions. Yet, the law also recognizes the courage it takes to admit fault, to face the outcomes with integrity." He pauses briefly, letting the words settle. The driver nods subtly, a quiet acceptance visible in the tilt of his head, the softening of his expression. Spectators shift, murmurs of approval weaving through the room. Some rise slightly, offering subtle applause, others exchange glances, the weight of justice and compassion evident in their eyes. Officers adjust, hands folded, acknowledging the blend of law and humanity that has unfolded. The energy is cinematic, a tableau of reflection, accountability, and moral resonance. A glance sweeps across the courtroom, faces etched with relief, empathy, and realization. The dashcam footage, the testimonies, the confessions, all have culminated in a moment that is both viral and human, leaving an imprint that lingers beyond the final words. Judge Caprio's calm, measured delivery underscores the delicate balance between authority and guidance, judgment and understanding. The driver exhales, eyes lowering briefly, then lifting with a quiet resolve. The room exhales as one, the tension dissolving into contemplation. The lesson is clear. Justice is not only about correction, but about guiding toward recognition, growth, and moral responsibility. Pause. Share this story. Would you react differently in court? Faces, whispers, emotional release, the cinematic sweep of reactions etches the conclusion into memory. The courtroom empties slowly, hearts and minds engaged, leaving viewers with the enduring, viral resonance of accountability, empathy, and human transformation. The doors swing open, and sunlight spills across the steps of the courthouse, casting long shadows over a scene still vibrating with moral resonance. Cameras flash, microphones extend, and news crews scramble for statements, capturing the tension that is finally released into reflection. The driver steps forward, posture straighter now, gaze steady yet thoughtful. He no longer seeks escape or deflection, only understanding, accountability, and perhaps the quiet hope of redemption. His family huddles nearby, expressions a mix of relief, remorse, and tentative pride. A parent's hand clasps another's, eyes glistening. The driver's sibling shifts uncomfortably, glances at the courthouse steps, then nods slowly, acknowledging the weight of the lessons learned. Every gesture, every glance, carries cinematic tension transformed into human reflection, the ripple of accountability extending beyond the courtroom walls. Reporters murmur questions, but the driver's voice, calm and measured, carries through. I understand now. The consequences of my actions reach far beyond me. I hope others can learn from this. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Some nod, some frown in contemplation. Viewers at home are drawn into the human fabric of responsibility. How one moment of recklessness touches lives, families, and communities. Friends and neighbors approach, some offering cautious praise, others sharing stories of similar mistakes, their voices blending into a tapestry of human consequence. Victims' reactions are captured quietly, acknowledgement without malice, relief tempered by the recognition that justice has been served and humanity preserved. Gasps and small murmurs of understanding thread through the scene, echoing the viral cadence established within the courtroom. Judge Caprio's presence lingers even outside the walls. His calm authority has become a quiet moral compass, guiding reflection and conversation. Onlookers discuss choices, responsibility, and empathy. Viewers are prompted to look inward, asking themselves, what would you do differently if caught in his situation? The moral lesson is clear. Accountability extends into everyday life, shaping decisions, relationships, and character. The driver exhales, a subtle release, the weight of shame lightened by understanding. He exchanges brief eye contact with the plaintiff, mutual acknowledgement, a nod toward human growth and reconciliation. The cameras capture the moment, yet it is the quiet, almost imperceptible gestures that resonate most. A hand held in regret, a shoulder straightened in humility, a glance filled with newfound perspective. Conversations swell around the courthouse steps, laughter tempered by reflection, questions met with honesty. The viral storytelling rhythm persists, emotional, cinematic, and human, leaving audiences simultaneously satisfied and contemplative. Every step, glance, and whispered exchange reinforces the stakes of action and consequence, echoing Judge Caprio's enduring lesson. Integrity and accountability shape not only the courtroom, but life itself.